What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Nate here from Out of the Basement, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And today we are giving our spoiler-free review of the brand new A24 horror film, Hereditary.
But was it horror, though? Who knows?
I definitely would say it belongs in the horror category. It's just not mainstream
not
scary.
Your typical, yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, this is spoiler-free.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one of those movies where you need to think about it. You got to process it.
Yeah.
Like, if we did the spoilers...
we wouldn't know what to talk about.
Yeah, we would pretty much just be throwing, like, crackpot theories
Yeah.
back and forth at each other.
Yep.
So it's going to take a little bit of time to process that. I definitely want to see it again. Because there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some of the good. We're going to talk about some of the meh. Because I don't think there was anything truly bad in the movie.
Maybe.
So let's just start off right off the bat. This is an A24 horror film. So
you know it's going to be heavily mismarketed.
it's going to be heavily mismarketed as like super scary, like the scariest movie you're going to see of all time.
Like that stupid thing that A24 keeps on tweeting and posting on their Facebook of the heart rate thing,
Yeah.
and it's like Hereditary is worth 2 hours of exercise. Like that's how many calories you'll burn off because
Right.
of your heart rate. That is just almost unethical marketing.
I love A24.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
whoever cuts the trailers and whoever does this viral marketing campaign, probably not the best approach, because even if you look right now on like probably Hereditary's Facebook page or A24's Facebook page, all of the comments are like, specifically there was one comment we saw where this guy was literally like, oh, this is going to be exactly like The Witch and It Comes at Night, which this person called those movies stupid,
Yeah.
which they're not. But general audiences really get upset, like really badly, when a movie is mismarketed.
And
for
we
them.
even witnessed 4 people total
4 people walked out.
And you know this was heavily mismarketed because our theater was packed for an A24.
Yeah, packed for an A24
Yeah.
means like, there was probably like 50 people in there.
Yeah, which was surprising, honestly. I was not
Yeah,
expecting.
my guess was 12.
Yeah.
And that was us going with a group of 6 people total.
Yeah.
So that's what I was expecting. But anyways, let's get on to the movie. Like we were saying, it's an A24 horror movie, so expect the slow burn.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow burn, but at the same time, it's a heavily convoluted plot.
Yeah,
It's definitely one of the more confusing, one of the more thinkers.
There's a lot of misdirection, intentional misdirection. You certainly think it's, at first you're like, oh, this is going to be a ghost movie, or oh, this is going to be like a possessed little girl movie.
Yeah.
And it flip-flops and it leads you in all of these directions, and I personally really enjoyed that because, I only watched the very first trailer for this movie, and I was in. I was like, okay, I don't need to see anything else. I'm already excited. And I definitely thought it was going to be like creepy little girl movie, like demonic possession maybe.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that. So I appreciated the misdirection because it was really not letting you know where exactly it was going to go.
Yeah, to me, I feel like you appreciated that aspect of it a little more than me, because to me, it kind of felt like different movies strung together. It's kind of like the Place Beyond the Pines. Spoilers, Nate.
Oh, no.
But that's kind of similar, where you think it's going to be this movie, and then it turns into a different movie, and then the third act, it's a different movie, which can work. The Place Beyond the Pines is a great movie, and I think this movie is great too, but I would have preferred a more linear, if maybe a little more simplistic. I don't even know if I want to say that, because it just sounds like I'm stupid. Maybe not simplistic, but definitely something a little more linear than switching the... Because I would call it genre switching. You said subgenre switching.
Right, because I think it definitely is a horror film throughout.
In terms of, like, we're speaking about the slow burn, it is a slow burn because the last 30 minutes is, like, horror.
Yeah.
When the movie started out, I thought, okay, it's going to be horror. And then, for me, with the pacing and the plot, the middle ran for a little too long. I think the second act dragged a little. I was just... Throughout the film, I was just like, come on, let's get it going here. But at the end of the day, I still really enjoyed what they did.
And you guys all know me. I love slow burn horror. So for me, I didn't really find pacing to be an issue. I was into the movie pretty much the whole time. And I was getting chills regularly throughout the movie, especially at the end. The end of the movie, I was like, damn, that's some, it was some quality payoff.
Yeah, I don't think it's the slow burn that I didn't like, because I truly appreciate slow burn as well, like something that comes at night. But
Right.
it was just odd that there was supernatural elements at the beginning,
And
horror
at the end.
elements, and then at the very end. And in between, it was more like realism and like grief issues and stuff like that. I don't know. It was just kind of odd to me.
Yeah. So I didn't really have that big of an issue with it, but Justin feels differently. Really good cinematography. Most of the time, it was pretty safe, but there was a lot of really cool shots, like the transition from there's a big thing in the movie where the mother is building like miniatures. And the movie starts out with it being panned on a miniature, and then it kind of zooms in and then becomes the scene, which not exactly an original thing, but really cool to see it, and really cool to see that in like a horror movie.
In terms of the cinematography, I almost got a Killing of a Sacred Deer vibe.
Yeah, I could see
Whereas,
that.
like, the Killing of a Sacred Deer kind of did a spin on 2001, and I feel like this kind of did a spin on Killing of a Sacred Deer. I don't know if you noticed any of that with the shots.
Yeah, the shots that really stuck out to me were more so like the transitions, like the very fast, like night to day, like snaps that it does throughout the movie. I didn't really pick up on a whole lot. I do agree with you about what you said about the dialogue, how it was similar to Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, what they did really well with the dialogue is just created a really creepy, like eerie, unsettling tone, because the characters in this film don't really speak or act normally.
Yeah.
Like the wife, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but like it's like perfectly normal, which this is normal. It's just odd to see in a movie, like when the wife was like, I'm gonna go to the movies.
Yeah. I thought it was weird. I thought that was weird just because it's weird to see a movie reference like, oh, I'm just gonna go see a movie. Like, it kind of helped add to the realism of the characters, because you don't really see a lot of, like, in movies, like, characters saying that they're gonna do or like doing mundane things. So I kind of liked that. It kind of added a little bit of realism for me. Like, oh, she's just going to the movies, but she really wasn't. But
but it was just unsettling, eerie dialogue like that I think is pretty similar to Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Agreed. Well, we also really enjoyed the soundtrack. Definitely some really great moments, especially towards the beginning and towards the very end. Some really nice. I don't really know how to describe it. It was sort of like a halfway between like a symphonic score and like an electronic score.
Yeah.
Definitely had elements of both, and I felt like those mixed together really well. And also the acting, for the most part, was pretty solid.
Yeah. There were some goofy parts.
Definitely. Definitely the son, Peter, his crying game. I don't see, there's this weird, like, the acting, there was a lot of, like...
I feel like if he would have normal cried, it would have been okay, but he was, like... Because he's an older teenager in this film, and he was crying like... He was doing, like, a baby cry.
It was like
wham. Like, it was just...
but there was other scenes, though, when he's, like, terrified and he's crying just fine, and you're like, I buy this. But, yeah, everyone else, the mother from Krampus, the father, who I didn't recognize from much, but he was pretty good at being, like, the kind of cold, skeptic character throughout the movie. So I guess let's talk about some of the things that we didn't necessarily enjoy.
Well, I already said there are some goofy parts. I think...
Why don't you elaborate on...
Yeah, I could take that even further and say, like, the woman that the mother meets, who is also...
Joni, or Joan, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I think her acting or her line delivery, something was a little too eccentric.
Yeah.
Like, when she was like, oh, that's him. And, like, so they tried to put some comedy in there.
Yeah.
And... it just fell out of place to me to have comedy in certain scenes.
The comedy for me, it really wasn't like I don't think it was like joke, like it wasn't like a joke with a punchline. It was just like
it was
something,
just acting in a eccentric way,
or like something happened that you didn't expect. like just like weird, like it was almost like situational humor. Like it wouldn't be funny unless it was in the context of everything that was going on. But it was just, the jokes were more so kind of just like Another thing that we kind of were a little iffy on was there are a lot of horror cliches throughout the movie. Granted, they are executed well, but it's just the fact that we've seen these things happen so many times in movies that you just can't help but be like, really? We're going there?
And it's not really even with the cliches. There are some plot points that you're like, really? You couldn't have avoided that?
Yeah.
For example, there is a character that has allergies.
Right.
We were talking about this,
right.
And then this character just effortlessly is like,
I'm
going to trigger my allergies, and then they don't have a pen, so they got to rush to the hospital, and of course he's speeding down the dark highway, and a deer!
And just the way that scene is set up specifically, where like you see the other girl, she's like chopping up the nuts to put in the cake, and you're just like, you see right away exactly where it's gonna go. So you also get like the standard this is definitely one of those movies where you want to look around in the scenes to see like all the creepy stuff going on, and that has just been done so much, especially with like, I feel like The Conjuring and Insidious really like brought that back, like the creepy shit in the background.
I think your two examples there specifically do it a lot better though than like because we just watched The Bye Bye Man, and that like creepy background shot is just like full light, no shadows. It's just standing there. It's a lot more scary when something in the foreground is concealed in some way, and maybe you only see like the outline of the figure. Yeah. And there's a lot of that happens in this movie.
So while there were cliches, we feel like for the most part they were executed pretty well. Yeah. So overall, Justin, do you have any final thoughts on Hereditary at this moment?
Well, I think Hereditary is... I cannot say this enough that it's not going to be for casual fans, and it's kind of sucks because film like this is just, it's dying, and I feel like we need a lot more of this. Unfortunately, a lot of people are just not opening their minds to movies like this. They'd rather watch, stuff like The Bye Bye Man. And if that's what you're into, cool, but like, you don't have to make fun of movies like this that don't scare you to your core, maybe has a higher symbolism and meaning for something else. Like, because all those comments on A24's Facebook page are just so like toxic, and just because you didn't get the movie, like, I'm sorry you didn't get it. Yeah. But on the grand scheme of things, I thought the plot was really interesting. I thought it was genuinely creepy. I wouldn't say anything too like gut-wrenchingly terrifying.
There's some pretty gruesome imagery though. Which I definitely appreciated.
And I think my favorite parts of the movie were near the end when things actually finally got going. I mean, the payoff was definitely there. A lot of people are going to hate the ending because it's ambiguous.
True. But really, it's not even that ambiguous. But I definitely, I see where you're coming from, though.
Because your average person would look at that, even though there are clues throughout the entire film on what the ending is. And I love movies like this where you want to go back and pay closer attention to certain details.
Yeah, there's a lot of details throughout this movie that, while you're watching it, you don't think that it's going to mean anything, but then after seeing the entire movie, you think back and you go, oh shit, like maybe I should have been paying a little bit more attention to this or that going on in the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely want to see it again.
Yeah, me too. But ultimately, I did thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, I would also pretty much echo everything Justin has to say. Really enjoyed the movie. Definitely still, it's No the Witch, or It Comes at Night.
Yeah, I'll throw that in there as well. It's a good movie, but for A24, I was expecting something just a little bit better. Right. Like something like The Witch.
Yeah. So, overall, though, Hereditary is a very good movie. Obviously, if you are more of a casual moviegoer, you're not going to get much enjoyment out of this. So I'd probably say avoid that. But if you like A24, if you like the more indie or I hate to say it because it just sounds so pretentious, but like art house style of horror. There's definitely a lot here for you to dig in. So I definitely think we both recommend you go out and see the movie. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to slap a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We always talk about movies, comic books. We're starting to play video games again on our other channel, so check that out if you're interested.
Doing live streams.
We're trying to get a little bit more into doing live streams on our channel here, so hit that subscribe. Ring the bell so you're notified of all of our uploads and our live streams when we do go live. So, of course, I'm Nate. I'm joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
You guys have been watching Out of the Basement, and we will see you next time.